people, Snocrash here from Snocrash Constructions. I've got a little something to talk to you about today. No, it's not lighthouses and cattle farms. That'd be pretty boring, I would say. It's elevators. Yes, that's right, we all love them. You all want one. And there will come a point when you want to build one. But there's one particular problem, and it's pretty fundamental. They don't work. Yes, that's right. You'll get to a stage on a multiplayer server when you decide to build one, put all the effort in, put all the time in, build it up. You'll use it once or twice, seems like it's working, then all of a sudden it'll all go wrong and you'll fall to your death. Yes, that'll happen. I can almost guarantee it. I've done it over and over again, and even on single player, you'll find that they don't always work. And it brings me to a design that I saw a few months ago by a chap called Mumbo Jumbo. You may have heard of him. So I'll have a link to his video and his channel down below. But he came up with a design that was absolutely ingenious. It used a redstone block to power the elevator, and the design seemed very promising. But it had one issue. You almost had to give your visitors an instruction manual on how to use it. You had to place blocks and jump on things and do a whole lot of stuff that really, quite frankly, that's just rubbish. I mean, the whole idea of an elevator is you arrive at your destination, you walk in, you push a button, and it vertically takes you up to where you want to go. So, I don't know what's going on over at the Redstone Consultancy, but they're dropping the ball a little, and I would have thought they'd take it to the next level, but they haven't, they didn't, so I thought over at Snocrash Constructions we'd have a good look at it and see what we could do. Okay. Well, you'll have to excuse the aesthetics of this thing. It's a small prototype of the elevator that I just went up. And, well, look, be honest, we've got a little bit of a different philosophy over here at Snocrash Constructions compared to other places like the Redstone Consultancy, where we don't have pretty prototypes and nice flat landscapes. We're a bit more down to earth. Because when we have a problem, we get into it pretty solidly and we smash around ideas and we just do it. So, you know, we've got a lot of different materials here, but hey, you know, as long as it gets the job done. So you're just looking at this as if the button's continuously held down, just showing you the way things are working. And I'll give it a very quick explanation. One of the problems with the Mumbo design was that you had to place a redstone block, that there was not a redstone block just sitting there waiting to be used in the mechanism. And that's for a very obvious reason. It's very hard to have an infinite supply of redstone blocks ready to go up unless you do it like this. So this is the only way I can think of, and it has a downside. It's very resource intensive. So it uses a lot of redstone to make redstone blocks. You need a lot of redstone blocks, and that's probably the big disadvantage and one of the only disadvantages with it. So if you're on creative, it's a non-issue. If you're on SMP, you're going to have to get mining and dig a lot of it out. Uses probably about 1.2 redstone blocks per level you've got to go up, and it has this, you can see the redstone block snaking down. It has this cyclic nature. And I'll just turn this off now by taking out this torch, and it's ready to go. Another problem with the Mumbo design was one thing he didn't spot, that you can actually take out redstone in the middle of its path here, and the block will stop at that level. I'll do that now. Press the button. There we go. Now that's very handy, and that principle is used here to have the block ready so that it's a flat surface and someone can walk over onto it and away they go. You can restart it and away it goes. And we actually use that principle down here with a comparator at the starting point. So in fact this elevator effectively goes down lower than the floor level, and it needs to start a level or two down below. Once the block arrives, it stops, it goes into this comparator, the comparator blocks the signal as if you've cut the wire, and everything's happy. There's a torch under there, this wire, this redstone line just goes around to the button, and you push it, and away things go. And it's ready for the next time. Another issue with the Mumbo design was when you're up the top, there's no block there, it's just a hole. And that's not really good for your visitors because they can fall down the elevator shaft and die. So this has effectively, it's blocked at the top so people can't fall down. Alright, now there's one other thing. As the block is going up and the person in it, it triggers this piston up here to start the snake process to push the blocks back down to the ready position. And if I push the button, you'll see that happen. As the block reaches a certain point, it'll trigger the top. Now it does that by simply detecting the redstone block going past here. That snakes its way up and fires this piston. Now I'm not going to do a tutorial and get into all the gory detail of how to build this. I'll leave that to the viewers to check that out. It's not terribly complicated, and it uses the same principles as the Mumbo Jumbo design. Alright, I thought we'd sidetrack a little bit here because this is extremely important. A couple of days ago I was watching episode 54 of Mumbo Jumbo's Hermitcraft series, and in it he was building an elevator for Jevon. Rightly so, he chose the redstone block piston elevator because it is as good as you can get for SMP Friendly. But he was having a little bit of trouble with it. So I've recreated a replica, a technical replica of what he had. And would you look at that piece of art? I've even gone to the extent of clearing out some grass here and putting down some nice white Australian merino wool. Isn't it pretty? And, you know, not this sort of slapdash, chuck it together, mismatch of materials, ugly looking thing. But you know what? This works and this doesn't. That's the important thing. So let's get to work here. Pop a block in, just like he did in the episode. Push the button. Oh wow, would you look at that? It stopped. So, what's going on here? Let's get rid of the block. Let's fix up this mess that's just happened. Pop a piston back in there. So what have we got going on? Well, we've got a button here, haven't we? Let's just go down to here. Here's a button. Button powers the block that it's attached to. It also powers the air space around it for 1 second. When you push this button, it's powering some of these elements here and interfering with the mechanism because it's on for 1 second. And all this here, first, third and fourth level, all happening within a few hundred milliseconds. So that can't be. We'll get rid of that. That's just rubbish. Move the button to somewhere else. Doesn't matter where, just don't have it there. I've just put it on the back here for the sake of this exercise. Pop a piston back, push it, and would you look at that? Away we go, all done, all fixed. And I hope that this has been of some help. And the important thing is that Mumbo gets back onto that Hermitcraft server, dismantles that abomination of a double piston elevator, and puts in a nice redstone block elevator like we've seen. In fact, he could even go one step further, improve on this design even, put something in like that, because I can guarantee you that that double piston elevator that he's put in Jevon's base will be glitching out more often than a double piston elevator on a laggy server. This is a better thing, this is a better design, this is Mumbo's design, it's good, it works, just not when you've got executive burnout and you're tired and you can't see the error of your ways. But he can rectify all that, go back and fix it. That would be terrific. I'd love to see that. Anyway, good luck, Mumbo. Oh, look, it started to rain now, right on cue. I should also probably point out that each of these pistons that's used to traverse the blocks down to the bottom are all independent. They're not connected to the elevator circuitry as such, and that's the elegance of using redstone blocks, that they're able to trigger and power things independently. And that's the elegance of this particular design, and what Mumbo came up with is really, it's just fantastic. It is really quite ingenious. But why the Redstone consultancy is just not thinking outside the box, I just don't know. Anyway, so I thought I'd mention that because it's an important point, that there's really not much to this particular snake system of pushing them back down. Alright, so you've had a little look at the general principles of it, the design, and it's all pretty straightforward really. But there is still one problem, and I think this is inherent with any pistonic movement in Minecraft, particularly moving players, is it glitches. Single player, multiplayer, doesn't matter. Eventually something will go wrong and you'll glitch through a block. Doesn't matter if you've got 5 solid blocks on top of the redstone, I've tried it all. Eventually there'll be a time when it glitches through. So that's not good, and when I finished this I said to my fellow Minecrafters here on a private SMP server that we've got, come over, come in, push the button, check out my sky palace. So the first visitor arrived, he went in there, pushed the button, got about 3/4 of the way up, glitched through the block, fell down and splattered all over the floor and died. He wasn't too impressed. I didn't understand what the fuss was about, but he died down the bottom, and he wasn't too happy about it. In fact, so much so that he won't come back to my base, and certainly won't use the elevator again. Well, there's a few safety things you can do. Firstly, below this is a water trap, so if you do happen to fall, you can fall straight down into a water trap like that. That is helpful. And it's pretty easy, if I can get out of there, it's pretty easy to do. It goes a fair way down and there's an emergency exit, and that can save lives. Now, there is one problem with that though, and I'll put the block back there, is as this block is going up, it will reset the top one and the new one comes into place, but if you happen to glitch out just near the top when this block appears, you're going to smash into a solid surface. Now, that's not good either because you're going to die. So I think I've come up with a solution for that, or at least something that will minimise the chance of any problems. Alright, well, we're back with the final safety system that's been installed, and I must say, what an exercise that was. I've been screwing around with this now for a good couple of hours, but anyway, I think we've got it licked, and that's pretty much the philosophy at Snocrash Constructions. We get into it, smash blocks around and a few ideas, and we get it sorted out. So as we said, this can still glitch, and if you fall, you may hit the block below. So I've been procrastinating about a particular idea I had, and I've got it implemented, and I think visually is the best way to show you. So we'll come over here I've taken all the glass away from the elevator so you can see. I'll push the button and you have a little look at what's happening here. Alright, so although it looks simple in principle, it was an absolute nightmare, and I'll show you behind the scenes. But basically, you push the button, you start going up, and what happens is the system has a tailing block behind it, which means if you glitch through your initial redstone block that you're travelling on, you'll only fall down about 9 or 10 blocks, which is about a heart, maybe a heart and a half of health, which isn't fatal. A lot better than falling the entire distance of 20 blocks. So I think the system's great. I think it virtually, I'm not going to guarantee that this will work every time and that no one's ever going to glitch out, because other people have said that and it happens. So, but I think it's a much better system, and it has, I'll just explain how it works actually first. There's actually 3 trigger points now. I've marked them with these pink blocks. Initially the first redstone block will reach this level here and trigger a push down, a ripple of all the redstone blocks down the snake, and so it reloads the bottom. The second trigger point is here. When the first redstone block reaches this point, it actually triggers a start of the system as if someone was down there and pushed the button. That starts the second block going. Finally, each time a block passes here, it clears the top. The first redstone block to reach here gets there, and there's no block to push, so nothing really happens, just the pistons move. And then finally the last block, which is the second block, reaches here, pushes the first one out of the way, and it's all good. I'll just show you that one more time. We'll get a bit closer to the top. First block reaches its apex, second block comes up, pushes it out of the way, and it's all good. Now, there's one thing left to mention, and this introduced another problem. Initially, if you didn't glitch, you would arrive at the top, and then the trailing block would come up, push this one out of the way, and you drop down if you hadn't moved off the platform. So now I've had to introduce a new piston there, which pushes the elevator user out of the way, to just avoid that little unprofessionalism that may result. So if I fly up quick enough, you'll be able to see that operating. First block's coming up now. First block arrives, person's on there, gets pushed out of the way, second block arrives, and it's all good. The system's reset. And that's pretty much it. I'll just go behind the scenes here quickly. And it's a lot of action behind here. So it's all happening. Lots of redstone blocks all getting pushed down. There's a lot of cascading. There's 3 signal lines all going up and down, and there's a lot going on here. But it really, in theory, it doesn't use a lot at all. Because of the simplicity of Mumbo's design, it's just redstone wire, a few repeaters just to boost the signal because of the sheer distances we've got going, and there you have it. So that's pretty much it. There are probably some improvements that can be made on it. You could even have more blocks rippling up to progressively reduce the chance of someone being injured, but I'll leave that to the viewers to implement. On a more serious note, you've probably heard me have a few jabs and jibes at Mumbo Jumbo and the Redstone consultancy. And I hope everyone realises that's just all a bit of fun. I have the absolute utmost respect for Mumbo Jumbo and all his work, and I hope he keeps it up because it's invaluable service to the Minecraft community. So, without further ado, I'd like to say goodbye. Hopefully see you next time. Cheers. This is Snocrash. See you later.